What is up, everybody? Today we are doing my top 10 personal favorite movies of Tony Scott, who is my number one favorite director. Love his movies. They're usually very intense with very deep characters. He does a lot more lower budget movies compared to his brother Ridley Scott, which I love. You know, the intensity of his movies just kind of draws you in once you see the movies on his list. If you don't know some of the movies he's directed, you'll see why. But we're going from least favorite to most favorite. But here in number 10, I have Beverly Hills Cop 2. Solid action movie. This one was not very intense like his other movies. It was a sequel, so it wasn't as good as the original, but it was definitely better than Beverly Hills Cop 3. At number 9, we have Man on Fire. I know a lot of people usually have this a lot higher on their lists as they really like it. It was an interesting movie. Obviously very violent, but I don't know, it just wasn't my cup of tea, really. It looked a lot like Domino the way it was shot, as far as being a lot of glares and really quick moving shots, which I know Tony Scott's known for that, but like especially in this movie, which kind of turned me off just a little bit, which is why it's lower on the list. I still enjoyed the movie. Then we have The Taking of Pelham 123. This is a remake of the original, which I have never seen. But I did like the idea of John Travolta playing the villain again. I haven't seen him play the villain since Broken Arrow, which is one of my favorite action movies for the reason of John Travolta being so good at it. I would like to see him. I know he does a lot of straight-to-DVD, leading roles and all that type of stuff. I'd like to see him in an action movie be the villain again. I think he'd pull it off and make whoever is the hero look really good. Then we have Spy Game with Brad Pitt and Robert Redford. Again, a really kind of lower budget, tense thriller movie. Tony Scott was the master of it, and this was no exception. At the time, I was not a very big fan of Robert Redford. I saw this movie and I saw The Last Castle, and then I was sold and started watching a lot more of his movies. So definitely check this one out if you haven't seen it before, if you like spy, super action movies, I guess you can say. Then we have Deja Vu. This was one of Tony Scott's better movies, in my opinion. He works with Denzel Washington a lot, and I can see why he would want to, and vice versa. But not only the cast, but the whole premise of this movie made it so fun to watch. They tried to do it in a, obviously this is not realistic, but they tried to do it in what would be a realistic way. So, if you haven't seen it before, I'm sure it's on a streaming service out there somewhere. Then we have Unstoppable. I love a good disaster movie, and Chris Pine was straight off of Star Trek. Denzel Washington, hot as ever, obviously. But this one was tense. I'd say this, between the soundtrack and the train and the cast, it was phenomenal. You need to see this one. I'm sure it didn't do super ridiculously good at the box office for some reason, probably because at the time it wasn't the big budget, beginning of the superhero movie genre. But I really do miss movies like this. And then we have Enemy of the State, which is one of Tony Scott's best movies. Put Will Smith on the map as a legit serious actor. Not just a comedic actor, but a serious actor. And Gene Hackman definitely helped elevate him. Like I said, I really miss movies like this, and I wish they'd bring them back. But something tells me that won't happen. Then we have Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder. This was a movie I was expecting not to like when I first watched it way back when. But I absolutely love this movie. Very good race car movie. Michael Rooker, who's not one of my favorite actors, did great in this movie as well. Deep, interesting characters. Robert Duvall was great. It's hard to find any flaws in this movie, and this is the movie where Tom Cruise met Nicole Kidman when they got married. So then we have Crimson Tide, one of my favorite Tony Scott movies of all time. Again, Gene Hackman elevating Denzel Washington just like he elevated Will Smith. This was obviously made before Enemy of the State, but the whole on a submarine not knowing if the orders are legit or not because they won't confirm them. or don't have a way to confirm them, and Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington kind of struggling to figure out which way they want to go. And the supporting cast is great in this movie as well. Viggo Mortensen, James Gandolfini. I mean, lots of huge names in this movie, and super intense. Way better than The Hunt for Red October. And then finally, we have Top Gun, which of course you know is going to be on everyone's list. Top Gun Maverick was great, but you know, you gotta love the classics as well, and this is definitely that. You can just watch this movie on an endless loop and never get bored of this movie, especially with the soundtrack as well. I mean, just a fun movie. I miss Tony Scott. I wish he didn't have his health issues to where he had his demise the way he did. But yeah, it is what it is. Otherwise, I wonder how many more of these types of movies we would have gotten from him. But yeah, that does it for this video. If you want to leave a comment as far as what order you would put these in, I wouldn't mind reading that as well. But otherwise, if you like content like this, please like and subscribe. Your support is much appreciated. I am also over on Letterboxd. The link to that is in the profile description of this channel. Otherwise, until next time, guys.